Ladies and gentlemen, before our coverage starts here on RaceSpotTV, let's first ride a lap on board with the 04 National Guard car coming down into turn number 1. This car's got a fresh set of boots on it, and you can see all the grip you need in the world. Coming out that first corner, working yourself up the S's. This is the run to potentially the best passing opportunity on the racetrack. Use push to pass if you've got it. Use that draft to try and get a slingshot. See yourself down to the inside, coming down into the inner loop. It's a right-hander, immediately into a left-hander, short pause, then again, a left, then right. And you can see the 04 car getting a little bit loose. That compromises his entry down into the carousel. Working yourself now down into the chute, turn number 6. You can tell how this track just completely falls away. It's a short run before you work yourself down into toe corner, turn number 7. Use that asphalt strip, it's where the most grip is. You'll come out the corner, and then again you've got yourself a short little straightaway before you get yourself down into heel corner, turn number 8. Break at the 100-meter board, make yourself a turn, and you can see the 04 car starting to lose a little bit of grip already as you come down to turn 9, the most difficult corner on the racetrack. You want to brake as late as possible, but you need to get that turn and get that car out of the corner as well. A little bit of looseness in the 04 car, 2 corners left to go. Flat out for the first one, it won't be the same the last stages of a run. Then you go down a gear, a little bit tight coming into that corner for the 04 car. May need to work on his downforce, but that is a lap in the books here at Watkins Glen International. Our coverage will start in just 1 moment's time.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this, the second round of the 2014 Season 3 iRacing.com Road Course Championship from the rolling hills of Watkins Glen International in upstate New York. Wolverton here on RaceSpotTV, getting set to go racing in just a couple of moments' time. Don't forget you can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/I am Will Vincent. Also, you can follow me on Twitter as well, at Will Vincent. Got an interesting field here today as drivers prepare to do battle around this amazing racetrack, and we will head ourselves down to the grid in just 1 moment's time for this event. Drivers, well, they're some of the very best that you can see on road course racing here on the iRacing.com servers, and we are going to start by running through your qualifying grid. On pole position, Christian Tadenho with a qualifying time of 1 minute 26.529. Marcus Hamilton just 1/1000th second back. He lines up on the outside of row number 1. Row number 2, Richard Avery and Sebastian Job. Of course, Sebastian Job was the winner just 1 week ago at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. And then we'll move ourselves a little bit further down the grid. And you can see Joel Gurez is running in the 5th position. He'll start on the inside of that 3rd row. Frederic Evers on the outside. An all-French 3rd row of the grid. Fabio Gonzalez and Diego Rancun-Bordon in row number 4. And then you head a little bit further back. You got Joshua Chin in the inside of row number 5. And then Ricardo Chevron in the outside. Conor Labate and Frank Lebet the 4th will be lining up on row number 6. LJ Garnett and Jose Pelugius Langer in row 7. Javier Soto and Amembo Palumbo in row number 8. And then you got Rico Anatalo, Christopher M. Payne in row number 10. So, that is your field. 22 drivers, Ryan Murray and Luigi Nespolino, lining themselves up in the 11th row of the grid. And, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting word that this could well be the biggest soft in road racing history here tonight from Watkins Glen International. So this could be something incredibly special at Watkins Glen International here today. We have got ourselves plenty of on-board cameras to show you. In just one moment's time, I'm going to take a quick moment to step aside. We'll be right back. We have to fix one very small issue. So then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Watkins Glen International. Got plenty of on-board cameras to show you here today. First one, the number 20 Banshee Autosport car of Joshua Chin. He's got the RaceSpotTV on board. Richard Avery in the number 4 car. He's got an onboard with us here today. Frank Lebet the 4th as well in that number 17 car. He's got an onboard for us here today. And at the rear of the field, Luigi Nespolino. He has got himself an onboard for this race here today. You can see him just working himself at the rear of the field in that Team GT Castrol Edge car. And just a little bit further ahead, we've got ourselves Christian Payne. He's got an onboard for this event. Just having a look from the rear of his car as well. You can see the guy on the inside of row number 11, the one that we actually really want to see. We want to show you a little bit something. He's got Dennis Garis, who's got an onboard with him as well. And there you can see, just in the background, Ryan Murray. Not actually going to see the thing we want to do, so we're going to try and show you over the course of this event, because that pace car, in just one moment's time, will make that journey down onto pit road. We are going to go racing here at Watkins Glen International. There is push to pass, there's different downforce strategies, there's going to be different pit stop strategies in play here today. But for that guy, Christian Tassenhope, he will bring the field to the green flag in that number 2 ARC team car. That pace car making its journey down towards pit road. The second round of the 2014 IndyCar Road Course Championship starts right now. Down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will everyone make it through? The answer to that one is going to be, you've got your first 7, 8 cars all through there. Now turn number 1 is going to be very interesting at the rear of this race. You see a couple of people hanging back. 2 Wide Racing going on as they work themselves up the hill. And we've got Dennis Garis actually involved in a great scrap on the racetrack right now. You see him right behind Mambo Palumbo. Palumbo's going to 2 wide down into the inner loop for the first time. Dennis Garis has got nowhere to go. He is going to have to fall back into line. So everyone is through those first couple of corners without incident. Your race leader is still that guy right there, Christian Tassenhope, with already about a 7/10 of a second advantage over his teammate Marcus Hamilton as they work themselves down into toe corner for the first time. There is your look from the rear of your race leaders. They work themselves now down into heel corner and some great camera shots we've got for you for today. A little bit further back, you see Sebastian Job was trying to make a move there on Richard Avery in this, the battle for the 3rd position on the racetrack as they work themselves down into turn number 9. Turn 9, we'll come back to this a little bit later on. It's going to be probably the most difficult corner for drivers in the course of this event. Everyone, you can see, is still working themselves on the racetrack as we've got just the rear of the field coming into your shot right now. Last place right now is Luigi Nespolino. He has fallen back just a little bit. There you see Ryan Murray at the rear of your screen, but out front it is this guy, Christian Tattenhoe, running himself a little bit wide out of corner number 1, but that gap has increased now to 1.3 seconds over Marcus Hamilton as we complete lap number 1 in this event. We've got one driver around, that is Adrian Pinheiro. Let's even get a replay of that in that iRacing Brazil car. Now, we believe that this is coming down into turn number 1. Let's get ourselves a replay of this. Pinheiro in that number 12 car. You can see him just at the rear of the shot in that yellow and blue iRacing Brazil car. 2 wide racing going on ahead of him. Is this going to be a self-spin? It is going to be a self-spin. Just touching the tyre barrier there. We'll get ourselves one more look on board with that car, the number 12 machine coming down into turn number 1. Here you see, just crossing the start finish line, 2 wide racing ahead of him, comes down into that first corner, touches that yellow line, car snaps under him, touches the barrier, but he carries on in this event right now. So then, this right now is the battle for the 3rd place on the racetrack. Richard Avery running in that 3rd position. You've got Sebastian Job right now working himself in the 4th spot on the racetrack. There's a look from the rear of that number 4 machine of Richard Avery to Sebastian Job, who right now runs in that 4th position. And for anyone who watched our coverage 1 week ago at Mid-Ohio, Sebastian Job was just absolutely dominant in that event. Looking as though he's not got the legs in the early stage of this race, but we're running for 27 laps here today. So there is a potential. It's Avery going very wide there. That's going to allow Job potentially the chance to make a move as they work themselves up the hill. We'll work on board with Sebastian Job. Let's see if he's got the legs. Push to pass is in operation in this race. Drivers get 10 pushes of the button over the course of this 27 lap event. Use them wisely, but you can see Job not quite close enough as they work themselves down into that inner loop section of the racetrack once again. Now, field is a little bit starting to get spread out on the racetrack. Carlo Labate, you see him there in that red, white and black car. There you see him on your screen in that number 14 car, running himself in the 11th position right now, trying to close up to the rear of Ricardo Chevion. And for those of you who are a long-term viewer of the iRacing IndyCar Road Course Series will know that Chevion in that number 5 car was last season's champion. Had a bit of a mismatched start to his season at Mid-Ohio, of course spinning with just a couple of laps to go, but right now he's running himself in the 10th position on the racetrack. In fact, he's actually now up into 7th place on the racetrack, so we'll take one back. Chevion having a great start to this event. You've got a couple of other people who have been on the move, in some ways good, some ways bad. This is one of them, and he is down 3 positions since the drop of the green flag here today. 2 positions. Frederick Evers in that number 22 car started his race in the 6th position, now running himself down in the 8th position on the racetrack. He's right on board with him out of corner number 1. This is what it's like to work up the hill at Watkins Glen. So drivers are continuing lap number 24. We've got a pass potentially going on, not quite close enough. Everyone falls into line. It can be really deceptive actually coming down into that inner loop section of the racetrack. By the way, Pinheiro, after his incident, is currently classified down in the 22nd and last place on the racetrack, but is still running. So all 22 runners are still circulating on the racetrack in this event. As you see, this battle going down on the mid-pack. A little bit further behind, LJ Garnett is running himself in the 14th position right now, trying to close up to the rear as we work on board with him of that number 16 car of Jose Langa, working themselves out of toe corner down towards hill corner once again. That Apex Racing UK car of LJ Garnett hasn't had the greatest start to this race, down 1 position since the drop of the green flag here today. However, is continuing along on the racetrack right now. I say in that 8 car, running himself in the 14th position on the racetrack. So then, let's check in on your race leader. There he is, Christian Tattenhoe. There you can see the gap from P1 to P2. There is your second place driver right now, Marcus Hamilton. But Christian Tattenhoe has been able to eke out a bit more of an advantage. It's 1.6 seconds on the racetrack. What does that mean? Well, Tattenhoe is pretty much clear of the draft now from Marcus Hamilton. As you can see him working himself up the S's down towards the inner loop once again, and you'll notice that gap on the screen, it's not coming down dramatically. As a little bit further back, we have got here comes Riccardo Chivion trying to make a move there on Borderon, wasn't able to get the job done. This is the battle for the 7th position on the racetrack, and right on board with Chivion in that number 5 car coming out of the carousel, now down into the chute. This is one of the 2 really difficult corners on the racetrack, turn number 6. And you see Chivion not quite close enough, but he's on the move since the drop of the green flag here today, up 3 places in this race. So the off-season champion is moving it up on the racetrack right now. So to go back to that gap between Tattenhoe and Marcus Hamilton, we were talking about, it's actually now up to about 1.8 seconds on the racetrack. Once you get about past 1.5 seconds, it does mean that you are able to break the draft to the car ahead of him. So Hamilton right now has actually got to worry about Richard Avery, who's running in that 3rd position. There you see the gap in your screen. The 2 British drivers separated by no more than 1 second on the racetrack. And then back from Richard Avery, Sebastian Job. His job are going to work on board of here. He's going down to the inside, and he has got that pass complete. You see Richard Avery now down into the 4th place on the racetrack. But will Avery be able to come back? We're riding on board right now with Richard Avery. Let's see if he's got a little bit more speed as they come out of the S's. Now he's going to look down to the inside. Richard Avery is going to retake that 3rd place back as they come down into the inner loop. Don't overshoot the corner, Richard. No, he doesn't. But he does get mighty loose on the exit. And there you see now, back down to the inside will go Sebastian Job. Does look as though that Holgerix is potentially going to look down to his inside as well. Avery is able to block that move. Avery, after getting himself back up into 3rd place, just loses it there down in to the carousel. We'll get ourselves a replay of that because that was an absolutely fabulous sequence of corners for Richard Avery and all of those guys involved in that. And here we are having a look down, starting off down into the inner loop. You see Avery able to get the job done, and then there just gets himself a little bit wide. That allows Job to go back down to his inside, working ourselves out of that corner. Now you'll see that target machine coming down on the outside. That is Guez not able to get the job done. Guez unfortunately has to stay in line at that point in time, running himself up now in the 5th position on the racetrack. Let's talk about Guez actually. You see he's running himself in that 5th place on the racetrack. That is where he started. Very close to getting to the rear of Richard Avery, able to get that 4th position away. Wasn't quite close enough. Misplaced his car down into the chute. But Holger is doing a good job right now to ride back on board with him in that number 5 car coming up the hill once again. Let's see what speed this target machine has as he works himself down towards that inner loop. Up to about 188 miles an hour. It's not quite close enough. You hear that? He actually lifted off the gas pedal to avoid running into the rear of Richard Avery. So he knew he wasn't going to get that pass complete. Wanted to make sure he could maintain his racing line down into that corner. Behind, got a mighty close battle going on right now as we have a look from the rear of Diego Rancho and Baldwin. The gap to Riccardo Chivion, that's what it is actually, Chivion has just been able to get past him, and here you see another pass going on potentially on the racetrack. The 19 car has got side-by-side racing right now, and this is going to be with Frank Evers. Wasn't able to get that job done out of the corner, but Evers is all over the rear of Rancho Baldwin right now, as Riccardo Chivion has actually now been able to move himself up into 6th place, and that's Chivion! Chivion off there! Chivion is off. We're going to have to get ourselves a replay of that up on your screen, and let's show you the sequence of what happened there. But Riccardo Chivion is out of the race. There you see him at the front of your screen. There he is, Chivion coming out of toe corner, working himself now down this short back straightaway, coming down into heel corner. I think he might have just got himself a little bit loose coming out of the corner. We'll get confirmation running on board with him. Coming out of the corner, touches that curb, and it just spears him there into that Armco barrier. Chivion is classified as out of the race. Let's get one more look at that. And just to let you know, Joshua Chin looking as though he is going to be out of the race as well, as potentially Might be one other driver. We'll get confirmation of that in one moment's time, because potentially Christian Tatanho, Christian Tatanho is fine. That was Chivion's issue. Now, let's see what we can see with Joshua Chin. We're going to ride along on board with him, because we're getting word that he is out of the race as well. This is down into the second to last corner. Now coming down into the final corner for Joshua Chin. So no issues here. No, he's fine coming on the exit of that corner. So it might actually be something down into turn 1. Keep an eye out, because it does look as though on our timing screens that Joshua Chin is out of the race. And is this the reason? Yes, this is the reason. Joshua Chin doing just the same as what we saw Pinheiro do just a couple of moments ago in this race. Got himself loose on the exit of turn 1. Here is the replay of that. Coming out of turn 1, running himself over that curb. Joshua Chin is out of this event. So then, this is how it stands right now in your top 5. Christian Tatanho is still leading the way. He's got himself now about a 1.4 second gap. So Hamilton has been able to close up a couple of attempts over the course of the last 3 laps. Hamilton running himself in the second position on the racetrack. Gap between himself and Sebastian Job is now 1.2 seconds on the racetrack. So Hamilton's starting to break away from Job. But Job, of course, was able to get himself past Richard Avery a couple of laps ago. The gap between Job and Avery right now is about 1 second on the racetrack. And part of the reason for that is that Avery has got Jules Gurez right behind him, as we could just hear maybe a car just hit the wall there. Getting confirmation, everyone is still circling, so no issue. But Gurez is still there right on the tail of Richard Avery as they complete your top 5. Let's actually work on board with Gurez coming out of toe corner once again, working himself down towards heel corner, up to 165, up to 160, no, not up to 170 just yet. Now this turn number 9 is the most difficult corner on the racetrack. Haven't seen anyone lose it here yet. But you brake as late as you can. You've got to turn left. You've got to hug that inside line. But at the same time, you can't put the gas down the moment you want to, because otherwise, so often, that car just snaps underneath you and you'll just see cars spinning all over the place. So then, on to lap number 10 in this event. Having a look down through the field, we've got an interesting battle going on right now between Dennis Garis, going to ride along board with him, and Christopher Payne right now. Dennis Garis last lap time at 1:30.305. Now for Garis, he's up 2 places since the drop of the green flag here. He started himself in the 18th position, now running himself on the 16th position on the racetrack. A good race so far by Dennis Garis, trying to catch up to the rear of Christopher M. Payne as he works himself up the hill. And you can see he's not really gaining that much as he comes out of the S's. Maybe about a 10th and a half or so. So the draft isn't really working for him the way he wants to. But there is Payne on the racetrack, just coming into shot there in that kind of toothpaste colour and white cars. We'll have a look from the rear of him coming out of the carousel now down into the chute. Christopher Payne's last lap time, 1:29.092. The issue for Payne is, though, he's at 5 places since the drop of the green flag. He is on the move right now. Having a look, and Sebastian Job has all of a sudden caught up to the rear of Marcus Hamilton in this battle for the 2nd place on the racetrack. There you see we're running on board with Sebastian Job, but just ahead, there you can see the gap now between Hamilton and Job is down to, get this, just half a second on the racetrack. As you say, you see confirmation, 4 tenths of a second as they begin their 11th tour around this racetrack. We'll have a look from the rear of Sebastian Job. There you can see just how close it is, about 3 to 4 car lengths on the racetrack. Now the question will be, will Job get the draft as they work themselves down towards the inner loop once again? The answer is yes, but not that much, not that close he is, coming down into that inner loop section, and actually does gain a little bit though, Job, through the inner loop as they work themselves down towards the carousel once again. Great battle going on for 2nd place on the racetrack, and whilst all of this is going on, there you are, Christian Tatanho isn't quite running away with this one there. Yeah, you see Tatanho at the top of your screen coming down into toe corner, but he's still only got a 1.4 second gap to Marcus Hamilton right now on the racetrack. Of course, there you see Hamilton to Job. That gap is now down to just 2 tenths of a second on the racetrack. This could be an absolutely amazing next couple of laps as we get a little bit closer to pit stops here at Watkins Glen International. This is your battle for P2 and P3 on the racetrack. We talked about the battle with Richard Avery and Joel Gurez before. There they are, just at the rear of your screen. In fact, just take that back. There is Gurez actually at the rear of your screen in that target car, working himself out of the final corner, one of our onboard cameras for today. And he's actually now just about 7/10 of a second behind Richard Avery on the racetrack as they come back down into that first corner once again. But Gurez still putting the pressure on Avery in that battle for P4 on the racetrack. His job any closer this time by as they work himself up the hill. Well, there is the gap. You see, it's just about 2/10 of a second. Now, let's listen closely. Is Sebastian Job actually running out of gear here as they come down into this corner? It's mighty close. You see, Job, unfortunately, our speedometer is just a little bit out of sync, but Job is right on the red limit. He's not gaining that much in the draft. Up to about 183 miles an hour. Absolutely no more for him. So, potentially, Job is going to have to wait until pit stop to get this one sorted out because he has not been able to find a way past Marcus Hamilton in this race so far. Let's check in with Ricky Ranatalo in that number 12 car very quickly to ride on board of him in that Club Suomi car. And the number 13 machine currently running in the 12th position on the racetrack. And he's up 7 spots since the drop of the green flag here today. One of our biggest movers in this race. His last lap time, 1:28.902. Now, interesting to note, that's only just a couple of tenths of a second off of his fastest lap of the race. Normally, you get up to about a 1 second drop off in this car as Alatalo's going to go wide. He's going to take himself a little trip on the gravel, and that is going to put Javier Soto right up behind him on the racetrack. Let's get ourselves a replay. So there you see it for Alatalo, just getting himself a little bit wide, and that is all about the tyre vulcanization, the tyre drop-off at that stage of the race. These guys have run more than half a stint in this race right now. For Alatalo, that's costed him as he's now still scored in the 12th place on the racetrack. Pit stops, well, no one's made one yet. Everyone is on a one-stop strategy here today. In fact, 2 people have. Christopher Payne, he is one of those drivers who have made a pit stop. There you see a 8.2 second stop for him. And also, of course, we've had Amamba Palumbo. He had a 10.4 second stop. That is getting himself a new front wing in the early laps of this race. And you didn't just notice there, actually, that Palumbo has got himself a little bit damaged to the side of his car as well. Hopefully, we'll be able to see it as he comes into this shot. And indeed, we do. There's the damage there to that Team GT car. So it's not going well for Palumbo in this event, running at the rear of the field. But there is your battle with Sebastian Job, and this is mighty close now. And Hamilton has gotten up to the rear of Tassenho as well. So your top 3 drivers are now separated by just under 1 second on the racetrack. It is Tassenho first, Hamilton second, Job is in third, and then Avery is running in the 4th place. Your top 4 drivers separated by just 1.5 seconds on the racetrack. Absolutely remarkable stuff, and here comes Job onto pit road. So Sebastian Job is your first one of your leaders to pit here as we've just gone past the halfway distance of this, the second round of the 2014 iRacing.com Road Course Championship here from Watkins Glen International. Will Vincent here on RaceSpotTV as we're running on board with Job coming down onto pit road. Let's see what type of pit stop he's going to have. Four fresh tyres, going to top it up with Race Short to get to the end of the race. 9.4 second stop, and Sebastian Job is out and away. You've got LJ Garnett as well on pit road. There you see him just completing his pit stop. A 10.2 second stop for him. You've also got Luigi Nespolino scored on pit road right now. There you see him in that Team GT car. Looking as though it's a slightly longer stop for Nespolino. Maybe might have actually got himself, yeah, definitely a speeding penalty there for Luigi Nespolino. That's going to drop him well down the field. Over a 20-second stop. He's out and away. So essentially, that's 15 seconds of waiting, and actually a pretty fast pit stop, all things considered. But Luigi Nespolino won't want to do it again. Up to now 100 miles an hour coming out of pit road. These cars, of course, do have pit limiters, but Nespolino tried to brake as late as possible. Didn't work out for him. Let's keep an eye out then on Christian Tassenho coming out of the final corner. He will stay out for another lap. We have, however, got Marcus Hamilton onto pit road. So Marcus Hamilton is going to be the second one of your front runners to make a pit stop here. You see pit road speed is 44 miles an hour. And for Marcus Hamilton, it is going to be a case now of making sure he gets these 4 fresh tyres, gets himself to up top of race fuel as quickly as he possibly can. Here comes the pit timer. So overall, it's going to be less than 10 seconds. The answer to that is going to be yes, 7.7 seconds. As we've also got a couple of other cars on pit road. You've got Carlo Labatti. There he is on pit road right now. 8.8 second stop for him. Dennis Garis is on pit road. Going to make a stop. And he's going to get 4 fresh tyres like everyone else in this event. Top himself up with race fuel. 7.7 second stop for him. And finally, you've got Jose Paliscos Lango. Yes, he's been able to break our overlay there. However, Jose out and away in 7.7 seconds. So there you are, that is the first part of your pit stop though, but this is your new race leader. So your race leader for the entire part of this race so far, it is Christian Tattenhoe. We're right on board of him, coming through that fabled turn number 9, 2 more corners to go. He gets mighty loose out of the corner, however. These tyres are falling away. I wouldn't be surprised if Tattenhoe comes onto pit road this time by. If he doesn't, he might lose this race, and indeed, you see, he is coming onto pit road. They're down to 45 miles an hour for Christian Tattenhoe. He had to do that there. The reason being that you saw Avery all over the rear of him. Tattenhoe was getting wicked loose through turn number 9. He is going to get his 4 tyres. He's going to top up with race fuel. You see also you got Hol Guez scored on pit road as well. Right behind Guez. Wants to get this pit stop done. Want to see if he can gain up a couple of places. But I think the later you pit in this race, potentially, the more difficult it's going to be. Here's Goer's pit stop time, but the one that we really want to keep an eye out for is this guy, Christian Tattenhoe, coming out of pit road, 7.7 seconds, but Marcus Hamilton is going to go ahead. There you see Christian Tattenhoe, but there you see Marcus Hamilton has been able to leapfrog his teammate, and we'll have a look from the rear of Hamilton. There you can just about see in the background is teammate Tattenhoe. So Hamilton was able to gain there by pitting just a lap or so earlier in this event as they worked themselves. There you see Hamilton, there you see Tattenhoe coming through the inner loop. Guez, by the way, has just come out ahead of Sebastian Job, but Job now down to the inside. Job is going to go side by side through this sequence of corners. Who's going to make it happen? Answer that one is going to be Sebastian Job. Great run by him as they work themselves out of that corner. There you see actually the look from Sebastian Job as they work themselves to see through toe corner. We are keeping an eye on your race leader, of course, see whether he's going to come to pit road. And in fact, Richard Avery is now on pit road. So Richard Avery going to be classified as our 3rd different leader for this race in that number 4 car. As you see, working himself now down onto pit road. Let's see what type of a time Richard Avery is going to have. As you see them, cars are swarming past. We've got a couple of other people coming onto pit road as well. Diego Ricardo Bordon is classified as your race leader right now. But there you see pit road, 3 cars on it as we speak. The one that we're interested in is Richard Avery. Evers, you see, is on pit road. 8.3 second stop for Richard Avery. Evers still making his pit stop up to 8 seconds, up to 9 seconds, 8.8 seconds there for Frederick Evers. Back out and away they go. But the question is going to be, where is Richard Avery? And the answer is he has fallen well down. We're right on board of him. And you can see in the distance that is actually Hol Guez to Avery, by pitting just 2 laps later, has fallen down to 7th place on the racetrack. So that tyre vulcanization we were talking about, it really has cost Avery. It cost, of course, Christian Tattenhoe. The people I'm really confused about right now is this guy running in 2nd. Excuse me. Frank Levesque, the 4th right now in that number 17 car, scored in his 2nd place, hasn't yet made a pit stop, the same way that this guy hasn't made a pit stop either, Diego Rincon Bordon. Neither of these drivers having made a pit stop, they are in danger of going a number of laps down, as Ryan Murray also yet to make a pit stop in this event so far, as we're now working ourselves on lap number 17 in this event, as we're looking high above from Ryan Murray's car. We're going to actually try and see if we can zoom in on that just a little bit, because we want to say a big thank you to Ryan Murray. Just see on the front wing there, I heart Will. I heart you too, Ryan. Thank you very much for all of your support and everything that you do for the iRacing IndyCar community. As Ryan Murray just working himself there out of toe corner. He's yet to make a pit stop though, so likely this will really jeopardize his position, as Frank Levesque the fourth coming up is not showing on our timing screens. He's actually taken over the race lead, as we have of course got Bordeaux now onto pit road, coming out of pit road. Pit stop time for him 7.3 seconds, back out and to the way onto the racetrack. So Frank Levesque the fourth does now lead this event. It's technically our 5th different lead change. We haven't actually had a pass for the race lead. Only what has happened on the racetrack. And Levesque right now did have a 6.4 second over Bordeaux. That is no longer the case. It's actually a 9.2 second gap over Marcus Hamilton. Just checking in on Dennis Carisse, running himself in that 11th place, so 14th place on the racetrack right now. He was one of the big losers in this pit stop. Of course, we talked about how many positions he was up earlier. He is up 4 places, but his pit stop did cost him just a little bit in this event. We are keeping an eye out, though, on this guy, Frank Levesque the fourth, working himself out of that fabled turn number 9, down into turn number 10. He will come. Will he come onto pit road this time by as we ride on board with him? Well, the answer to that question is going to be, yes, he is. He's onto pit road. So here we see Frank Levesque coming down onto pit road, and here he is in that number 17 car, just coming down to make his 4 tyres. He's going to get himself topped up with fuel as well in that friction racing car. And for Frank Levesque, it is going to be a case of make sure he can get himself back up onto the racetrack as quickly as he humanly possibly can. 7 seconds stop for him. He is back out and away onto the racetrack, but it does look as though he is going to fall outside of the top 10. There you see it on your screen, down into 12th place. Now this is actually going to be a mighty close run as he comes out of the corner right on board of him. Frank Levesque just losing out there to Ricky Ranatalo. What this does do is it puts Marcus Hamilton in the race lead, and he's got himself right now a gap of about 1.5 seconds over Christian Tattenho, who runs in the 2nd place on the racetrack. We're going to step aside for just one moment. Your top 5 as it stands: Marcus Hamilton, Christian Tattenho, Holger Grizz, Richard Avery and Sebastian Job. We will be right back. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this continuing coverage of the 2nd round of the 2014 IndyCar Road Course Championship, the official series here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, the next round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series will be coming your way in just a couple of weeks' time. That will be on August 16, 2014. We go back to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It will be live. It will be here on RaceSpotTV and iRacing Live. So then, 8 laps to go in this event. Marcus Hamilton is classified as your race leader. There you see the gap now between himself and Christian Tattenho. 1.1 second on the racetrack. So have a look from the rear of Marcus Hamilton's car coming down into heel corner, as we'll get the ticker running back again at the bottom of your screen. Tattenho, right in his last lap at 1 minute 27.8. So it was just a little bit slower, faster even than Marcus Hamilton is catching. The question is going to be, with 7 laps to go at the line, will he have enough time to try and make a battle for the overall race lead? Frank Evers right now is in a great battle with Carlo Labate. This is for P7, P8, P9, P10 on the racetrack. There you see the gap between Labate and Evers. It is just 0.3 of a second as it stands right now. Evers is also just a couple of tenths of a second ahead of LJ Garnett, who runs himself in the 9th position on the racetrack. And then in the 10th position is Ricky Ranatalo. Ranatalo's been able to make up a ton of places in this race so far. He is now scored in the 10th place on the racetrack. Is right on board with LJ Garnett coming up the hill. And there you see Alatalo. Is he going to look on the outside? The answer is going to be yes, he is. What a pass there by Riku Alatalo. We're going to have to get ourselves a replay of that. But Riku Alatalo just passed LJ Garnett on the outside. We're going to have to get ourselves a replay of that. That was a very bold move by Riku Alatalo. Let's see the replay up on your screen coming up the hill. And Riku Alatalo, I think that Garnett might have just missed the shift. Alatalo went around the outside, two-wide racing through that section of the racetrack. Is not something you ever do, really. We'll see if we can get another look to see if anything actually happened to Garnett coming out of corner number 1, because here they come out of corner number 1. Garnett ran a little bit wide, did get himself a little bit of a wiggle, then coming out of that corner, Alatalo just made that corner perfect for him, working himself up, almost made contact there. That track is barely 2 cars wide, but Riku Alatalo was able to get it done. Let's have one more look on board with Riku Alatalo to show you exactly what happened in that Club Finland car coming out of the corner. You've just seen the momentum he got. Then we're going to run side by side up the hill. Don't ever do this at home, kids. But Riku Alatalo able to get himself past that Apex Racing Leah Bodner car of LJ Garnett. Alatalo up into the 9th place on the racetrack. Amazing stuff. In that battle for the race lead, Marcus Hamilton, his last lap was a 1 minute 28.141, about 3 tenths of a second off of his fastest lap of the race. Last time by for Tattenhoe, a 1 minute 28.3. So now Tattenhoe is in that dirty air. It does look as though that potentially he's not able to close up the much he needs, and with 5.5 laps to go, potentially Tattenhoe, after qualifying this race in pole position, might have to settle for 2nd place overall. Very quickly, we have had a couple of retirees out of this race. They are Joshua Chin and Ricardo Chevion out of the race in the early going. Chevion, of course, we saw him spear the wall out of this corner right here, which is turn number 8. And as far as Joshua Chin does, that was out of turn number 1. Amanda Palumbo, we are getting word, is still scored on the racetrack. There he is, running down the 20th position. He also touched the wall out of corner number 1. He's the only driver to have made a pit stop in this race in the early going. He might have to wait one more before the end of this event, however. So there you see, P1, P2 just right behind as they come down into turn number 1. Oh, Guiz is up into 3rd place in this event. We're right on board with him. He's been able to get himself up into 3rd through the sequence of strategies. He's having himself a great race, up 2 places, now running in a podium position in that number 7 car. So a great run for him as they work themselves back down into that inner loop section. There are your top 3 cars coming down into that section of the racetrack once again. Guiz up in 3rd. Of course, he has got a little bit of a challenge from this guy, Richard Avery, who still runs in the 4th position on the racetrack. And as far as these two goes, the last time by, it was a 1 minute 27.499 for Avery, and Guiz about half a second slower. So it's right on board with Richard Avery. Potentially, with 4.5 laps to go, he might just be able to do something, Avery. And of course, he did come onto pit road a little bit later than some of his competitors. So in the latter stage of this race, if the tyre drop-off is anything like we saw in the first part of the run, Avery could be mighty, mighty fast and might be able to just steal himself a podium place here. That's the turn 9 we were talking about. And there's a little bit of the oversteer that we saw from Richard Avery as he worked himself out of the corner. This time by, ladies and gentlemen, 4 laps of this race to go. Battle going on, by the way, between Evers and Levesque on the racetrack. Also LJ Garnett as well. So we'll have a look from the rear of LJ Garnett's car. There's the gap between himself and Frank Levesque in 4th. It's about 4 tenths of a second on the racetrack as they work themselves now down into that final corner on the racetrack, turn number 11. And then having a look back, there you see it is Evers, and Levesque even is running in the 12th position. That's the one we're looking for. Frederick Evers running in 9th, and then you see Frank Levesque running himself in the 11th place on the racetrack. And it does actually look as though Evers was able to get himself past Levesque on that previous lap, which is why the time and scoring was just a little bit off. We actually believe, getting word that it might have been Levesque who lost himself 2 positions there. We'll try and confirm that after the end of this event. Here is Richard Avery then, with now just 3.5 laps to go, right back on board with him one more time in that Club UK and Ireland car. Last time by him, a 1 minute 27.8. It was pretty much even Stevens between those two the last time by, but Gold Guiz is slowing down into the 1 minute 28 now, and with 3 laps to go next time by. The question for Avery will be, will he have the tow he needs up the front straightaway? But also, now you can see that Tattenhoe has caught up to the rear of your race leader, Marcus Hamilton. This is the gap, just 0.7 of a second with 3 laps to go this time by. So here we go then, 3 laps to go in this event. Anything can still happen in the battle for P1 and 2, but I was going to say battle for P3 and 4 as well. Something's just happened to Richard Avery. He's lost himself a couple of tenths of a second as they work themselves out of turn 1. We believe it was down into the final corner on the racetrack. We'll get ourselves a replay of that if we can at the end of this race as well. But here is Tattenhoe as we ride with him. Not quite close enough to make that pass down into the inner loop. He has now just got 2 more opportunities of the best place to pass. And the question is going to be, will Tattenhoe, has Tattenhoe got enough uses of that push to pass left to get himself to the end of the race? And of course the question for Avery as well, will he be able to close that gap back down? It is now scored at about half a second on the racetrack, about 0.7 of a second on the racetrack actually right now. As we ride on board with Avery one more time, there you can see the gap, 2 gurus ahead of us, about 0.7 of a second. But that's really going to have cost him, as LJ Garnett, actually a little bit further back in this train of cars we were talking about, is right over the rear of Ricco Anatale as they work themselves down into that tow corner once again. There you see the front of the battle for LJ Garnett, and then you can also see, as we have a look, tilt our camera around, there is Evers right behind him as well as they work themselves down into heel corner. This time by, there will be 2 laps to go here at Watkins Glen International. So there is Marcus Hamilton. He has led so far 8 laps in this event. He qualified on 2nd place with his Friction Racing teammate, but he has led 8 laps in this event. Tattenhoe's led 14 laps in this event. But for Hamilton, 1 minute 28.3 last time by, 1 minute 28.4 for Tattenhoe last time by, a 1 minute 28.2 for Joel Gures, he's running in 3rd, a 1 minute 27.9 for Avery. He is the fastest guy in your top 5 right now, but don't also discount potentially Sebastian Job. If he's got anything left, and he's running in that 5th place right now, the winner last time out, he will do all he can to try and make up some places. He is down 1 spot since the drop of the green flag here. Pitted later than some of his rivals, and that really did cost him. There's a battle as LJ Garnett's going to go wide. That will get him a slowdown penalty potentially, as you see as we ride on board of him. There is Levette gone. Now, is he going to lose another place? Yes, you see he's going to lose 1 more. He's got a clear road behind him, but LJ Garnett losing 2 positions there in the space of as many corners. Let's see if we can get ourselves a quick replay of that. So here they are, working themselves down into the inner loop section of the racetrack. We'll start by having a look on board of LJ Garnett. You see Evers trying to go around the outside, then just cutting that last section of the racetrack. That cost him a slowdown penalty. There you see that Levecque's going to go past him on the inside, and Garnett is still having to slow down. Is then going to have to allow another car to go past, and Garnett is down. Now 2 places on the racetrack in as many corners. However, for Marcus Hamilton, the white flag is out. 1 more lap to go to try and hold off Christian Tattenhoe. There you can see the gap between your top 2 drivers. We'll stick with this because there you see Richard Avery is 0.6 of a second back. I don't think that Avery is going to have the opportunity to do anything in this battle for the 3rd place on the racetrack. Clearly not. Hamilton over Christian Tattenhoe. It does look as though, so long as these guys have got enough fuel, Tattenhoe isn't going to be able to do anything either over Marcus Hamilton. We are getting word that that is the bag battle going on the racetrack. We have got Frank Levette going to try and make a last minute move. The answer is going to be, this is over his teammate Evers. Not looking as though it's going to be close enough for Levette over his teammate Evers. With just a couple of corners to go. Last ditch moves potentially taking place right now. Behind you got Javier Soto as well in that 12th place. Very close to the rear of LJ Garnett. But for Marcus Hamilton now, just 3 corners left to go. There's the first one complete for Marcus Hamilton. Now just 2 corners left to go in this event. They'll work themselves down into that final corner for the final time. He didn't lead the most laps here today, but he is going to score victory here at Watkins Glen International. There you see the view behind him. Is going to be Marcus Hamilton taking victory here at Watkins Glen International. Second place will go to to Christian Tatenho. Third place goes to Gold Gruez. Richard Avery will come home in the 4th position. Then it's going to be Sebastian Job coming home in the 5th spot overall. There you see Sebastian Job. There you see the donut going on right now for Marcus Hamilton. And he has had an absolutely barnstorming second part of this race. The rest of the cars just getting themselves towards the end of this race right now. We're getting confirmation of the full top 10 in just 1 moment's time. But we all like a little bit of donuts. Let's see some donuts from Marcus Hamilton. There you see the donuts there from Marcus Hamilton in that number 3 friction racing car, and a well-deserved victory for him. We'll run through your final race result in just 1 moment's time here on RaceSpotTV. We're going to step aside for just 1 moment, let everything sort itself out, and then we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, please stick with us for just 1 moment's time. Hi ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to RaceSpotTV. I'm Will Vincent. Race results coming up right now. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this, the conclusion of the second round of the 2014 Season 3 IndyCar Road Course Championship here from Watkins Glen International. And to run through your final race result, it is Marcus Hamilton claiming victory. He didn't get the fastest lap of this race. That actually went to Richard Avery overall, but Hamilton, he led a total of 10 laps in this event, able to steal one from Christian Tatenho, who he has to steal, but second place in this event, just 6 tenths of a second back when all was said and done. Olguez comes in the 3rd place, Richard Avery in 4th, Sebastian Job in 5th, then Diego Rancho and Bordon in the 6th position. Riccardo Taulo, what a drive by him, up into P7, didn't talk about him much, but made up an absolutely ton of places. Carlo Labate in 8th, Frank Levesque the 4th in 9th, and then Frederick Evers rounds out your top 10. On to page 2, it's LJ Garner 11th, Javier Soto in 12th, Fabio Gonzalez, Dennis Gariz and Antonio Pinheiro runs out your top 15. Jose Beluzios Langa in 16th, Ryan Murray in 17th, Christopher Payne in 18th. Yes, you've got 19 cars scored on the lead out. The last one of them, well, that was Luigi Nespolino in that 19th position. Maba Palumbo rounding out your top 20. Just 2 non-finishes in this event. Joshua Chin is the first one of them, and the second, well, that is Ricardo Chivia. But it has been a very entertaining race here today from Watkins Glen International. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget there is plenty more action coming your way on RaceSpotTV each and every week. Before we go, we did say we were going to let you know about the overall soft record for the IndyCar. We are just having a very quick look. Unfortunately, it hasn't yet updated on our screen, so we'll give ourselves a moment. We do need to let you know that the next round of the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series will be taking place in just 8 days time now, and that'll be taking place from Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, 44 laps here live on RaceSpotTV, as it's going to be Gregor Hutu once again trying to get victory. Get this, 7 races in a row it has now been Gregor Hutu and victory lane in the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series. A number of drivers have come close. We'll talk about the big story coming into Spa as well, which is the demise of 3ID Motorsports. They announced just 36 hours after the last WCS race at Okayama that they are disbanding. That is it. The team is done. So for those guys, unfortunately, 3ID's day is over. So we'll let you know exactly what's happening with them. What's going to happen to the drivers in that team? Of course, you've got Hugo Luis, a one-time iRacing.com world champion. We'll see what's going to happen to him. People like Martin Conke, Andre Borcher, all those guys over at 3ID Motorsports, potentially orphans. We'll let you know what's going to be their case. And also, whether that's going to be a new lease of life for them, or if it's going to be Gregor Hutu storming himself to yet another championship. Don't forget, on Mondays as well, we bring you coverage of the Club UK&I Championship. Next round of that will be coming your way on Monday. Start time for that 7:45 PM here on RaceSpotTV. And finally, we've got ourselves ISOWC action from the Milwaukee Mile coming your way in just a little over 1 week as well. And unfortunately, every time we want to do something, we don't get it. So let's have a look through your final race result one more time. And I have to say, potentially driver of the race here today has got to be Riku Alatalo, coming home in the 7th place overall in this event. What a drive for that Club Finland Glacier Racing Dassler driver. Absolutely barnstorming result from him. So just having a look from the rear of his car. Absolutely phenomenal race. And you've got to remember for Alatalo as well, he qualified down the field. He was up into 9th when we were talking about how good that run was. And he made an absolutely barnstorming pass midway through this event. Riku Alatalo clearly has to get driver of the day, even if we didn't see that much of him here today in RaceSpotTV. But there is your top 10 one more time. Hamilton from Tattenhoe, from Guez, from Avery, Job, and then it is Bourdon, Alatalo, Labatti, Levesque the fourth, and Frederick Evers. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is potentially all we are going to have time for here today. Don't forget, you can join us in 1 week's time, of course. And next week, this series will be heading on to, get this, I'm just going to wait for my results page to load, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And then we'll be here for that, same time, same place. That will be at 8 PM GMT here, exclusively live on RaceSpotTV, bringing you coverage of this, the IndyCar Road Course Championship, all season long on RaceSpotTV. Proud to do our bit for one of the greatest cars that iRacing have ever bought out. So, for myself, Will Vincent, we will see you all in, I don't know, maybe should we say 1 week's time here on RaceSpotTV. Don't forget, you can like me on Facebook, facebook.com/I am Will Vincent, Twitter at Will Vincent, with 1 L please, and not 2. And ladies and gentlemen, this has been a RaceSpotTV presentation of the iRacing.com IndyCar Road Course Championship from Watkins Glen International. Congratulations to Marcus Hamilton. Well done to your podium, Christian Tattenhoe and Gold Guez. And well done to Riku Alatalo, clawing his way through the field to come home in the 7th position, our driver of the day. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.